Hello, Steve White, Steve R79. Well, I'm back with Pom Pom, my emotional support penguin. I'm still, recovering from the debunking I got from Eric Debunks, and I missed the point that I wanted to make. And because it's sort of an overall sort of issue, I sort of thought I can make a separate video about it. But it was in regards to Predator Badlands. Now, a lot of the chuds and the male audience who were all sort of apparently expecting another Schwarzenegger-style Predator, they were all very threatened by this female character, and they were putting out a bunch of lies that the film had been, the character in the film and the franchise had been feminized and undermined and everything. None of that really happened. There's no romance in the film. They made up just a whole bunch of things. And that's kind of frustrating. But one of the things that they weren't wrong about is that there is a female presence in the film. And when, a casting director or a production company or a studio or whatever casts, minorities and women, they know on some level that they're doing this in spite of the racists and the homophobes and the misogynists and all that. And acting like that's not a factor and not an element, it's just a little insincere, because even though the character, in theory, changing it to a male wouldn't have made any difference to the story, and she's not technically biologically male, she is, presenting as a female and played by an actual female. So the chuds, when they're watching this, they're reacting to the production, they're reacting to the fact that this is actually a woman in their action film, even though there was a female in the first Predator. They're all upset and worked up, but they're not imagining things. There is actually an attempt to have female representation in that franchise. And the fact they're threatened by it is just shows how pathetic they are. But they're not actually imagining it. And he was sort of saying, well, it doesn't exist because she's synthetic. She's not an actual biological woman. So it doesn't matter that she's there portraying basically a woman and played by an actual woman, that isn't a factor. And it is for the misogynists who hate women. The fact they cast a female is enough of a challenge to their insecure little, patriarchal whatever. So yeah, I just find when you ignore a fact and discredit something like that, it doesn't help your overall argument. I think it just undermines the argument if you don't acknowledge the tiny little things that are actually correct that these people say. Because even if they totally misrepresent it, or it's negative, just you have to still acknowledge it. And I felt there's times where he doesn't do that, where he's so interested in being right and playing the game, that he does just ignore these little things that are true, and it's just harder to trust him that he's right the other 9 times out of 10 where he's ignoring the one thing they got right in the video and acting like it's just as bad or wrong as everything else because they're wrong in general. So yeah, I just had to talk about that for a minute. I wasn't going to redo the whole video again just to add that in. I don't want to edit it, so I just thought I'd do a separate video, because I do think it was interesting and curious how all these men were so threatened by this female character when she wasn't actually female, and just because she's actually played by an actress, there's an actual woman involved, and they're so insecure that was threatening enough to them, even though the character itself, when they're in the film, apparently wasn't. So I thought it was interesting. I had to comment, and probably could have made a better video had I not be totally exhausted. My eyes are practically closing right now, but I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of my videos on Eric Debunks and his video response if you saw it, and my response to his response if you looked at it. And if you haven't, I would ask you to, because I think it's kind of interesting. But I don't know. I got to go. I'm falling asleep.